Howdy, folks. Welcome back to West Virginia Cryptids and Strange Encounters. It's August 1st, 2021. I'm in Braxton County. I come down here to do an interview with a guy that supposedly had a sighting back in 2003. So what you hear next will be that interview. Okay, so we are in Braxton County, and we are at Gerald R. Freeman Campground, right?
Yes.
And it's August 1st, 2021. And I'll just use your first name. Okay? That's
right.
Cool. Jesse, right?
Yeah.
I want to make sure I remember right. I'm here with Jesse that had a possible sighting of a Bigfoot in
2003.
2003?
Yeah.
Okay, if you want to go ahead and tell me just walk me into what all, how it transpired, what you were doing here and what you saw.
Okay. Well, like I told you, I went to Christian school, so we would always go. Christian school always started a week after public school, so we'd always come camping the week that public school opened because there was nobody at the campground. So when we came, it was I think the second week of August, and there was probably 10 people in the whole campground, and me and my brother-in-law had stayed up probably for the first 4 nights, night fishing every night, and we would watch across the river because every night there was deer and sometimes raccoon that we'd see, walking across the edge of the river. And every time we'd hear something, we'd flash the light on and we could see their eyes glowing, and it was just fun. So the last night that we were doing it, we were fishing. It was probably 2:30 in the morning, and we hadn't seen a deer all night, which was the first night we hadn't seen a deer. First night we hadn't seen a deer in this field behind the campsite, and we heard something making noise, but it was, like I was telling you earlier, it was just like a step every now and then. It wasn't a deer trotting or a raccoon rustling. So we went and got the flashlight. Well, we didn't get it. We had it beside us. And when we flipped the light on, that's when we think we saw it.
Look, and it's approximately, what do you say, across the river there? It's
probably 75 feet.
This is actually kind of fun.
Thank you, Mason. Go on.
This is kind of fun.
Yeah.
I went all the way down the ramp and no feet.
Yeah, go make a big circle in that parking lot.
Yeah, go over there. Watch it. Have Mom. So it's probably 75 to 100 feet across there. It looks like it.
Yeah.
And
where we saw him, like I showed you, it's pretty clear. It's mostly grass, but it's thick up until that point.
And
We didn't see him walking. We didn't see him running. All I know is that whenever we clipped the light on, it jumped behind the tree real fast, like in a blur, and then we turned the light off, and when we turned the light back on, it had its head sticking out, like I said, probably about 8 feet high. And as soon as we turned the light on, there was no glowing in the eyes, and it just snatched its head back and its hand back from around the tree, and we stayed out probably a whole nother hour, and he never made another noise. Like, never walked, never moved. We didn't even fish. We just sat there and watched the whole time because we were shook.
And that's pretty steep across the river there too. The bank,
yeah,
the mountain's pretty steep.
But that, like I said, that deer trail goes all the way, probably 10 feet up, all the way down that bank.
But does it lead clear to the field that you were telling me about?
The field that's down there, and then if you go the way that I think he was going, there's another field down there, and they're always full of deer. I don't know. It didn't seem like he was stopping and pausing. It seemed like he was going. He had motive to go somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know it was dark, and could you tell what color? Was it a dark color, lighter color?
Not black.
Not black.
It was lighter than black, but it wasn't. It seemed more like a brown and gray. Grayer around the face and darker up under the arms and stuff. Or from the one arm we saw, we didn't see the body, but the face seemed gray and brown, and not to be cliche, but almost the color that they did Harry in that movie.
Okay.
But a little bit, the face wasn't as tan and as pronounced.
Could you see the features of the face or just the
hair,
color?
There was no hair around the face. Around his eyes and his nose. It looked like a a heavily hippie bearded man. I mean, the beard mane was probably about like mine, like 6 inches, and then it just turned into regular hair. And the one side of his chest seemed like it was a little bit bare.
Okay.
But his arms were definitely super hairy, and the top of his hand was super hairy.
Okay. And
it wasn't real long either. Like the hair on the body, from what I could tell, it looked like it was longer than, a deer, but it looked like it was like 3 inches.
Okay.
Something like that.
So would you describe it as like some of the typical Bigfoot you see like on TV and stuff, or would you describe, as like ape-like, or would you describe it more of a man-like cross, something like that, or wild man looking, or
more? It wasn't apish. Like,
okay.
He definitely was aware of us once we clicked the light, and I mean, I think he was aware of us before that, but either maybe he's used to campers and knows he can just sneak through there without having to go through all the thick, but where it was so quiet and late, maybe we surprised him, and that's why he flopped behind that tree.
Yeah.
But he was super fast. That's the one thing. It was weird because as big as it was super fast. And I told you, if it was a bear, it would have either kept walking or cut out, went up over the hill, but it didn't move. Like after we laid eyes on it, it didn't move and it disappeared.
When you mean super fast, when it went behind the tree?
Yeah, when it went behind the tree and whenever we clipped the light back on. I mean, he only was showing half of his face, and he had his hand around the tree like he was leaning.
So other than that, you didn't see it go back down the road or down the trail?
We waited an hour and didn't never heard another noise.
So his reaction to your light was what you mean by super fast?
Freeze. Like he knew enough to get behind the tree. Like he didn't, like when we turned the light on, his face was sticking out and he knew we could see that because we made that, and he moved, and then after that we never seen it again or heard anything for an hour, and then we went to bed.
And you were how old then?
I was about 17.
Okay. Did you know anything about Bigfoot at that point?
I was definitely interested in it. I told you I read that book in high school, that Sasquatch book by Roland Smith.
Okay.
And I definitely got into, that's when I learned about the cryptozoology, and I started looking into that and Loch Ness and all that stuff. I mean, I wasn't like fanatic, but I'm more of that now since I've, had a experience with him. I got more into, I look up stuff.
Is this?
It's my son's. I look up stuff on YouTube about it now, and I would never do any of that before, It was just, my mom just laughed when I told her I was interested in it.
Can I take my shoes off too?
Mason, go over there with Mommy. We'll be done in a few. What was I going to ask you? When you saw it that night, did you have any idea that's what you were looking at, or was you?
Yeah, I mean, what did it for me, and like I told you, where I've been hunting so long, there was no eye reflection.
Okay.
And I told you, I've seen coyotes, I've seen bobcats, I've seen a bear, I've seen deer. Pretty much every animal you can find in West Virginia, me and my dad have came across it in the woods. And that's the first one we've ever, I mean, I knew it was the face, but there was no eye glow, which was weird to me. That's what threw me off. And, first thing that came out of my mouth to my brother-in-law, I was like, that was Bigfoot. And he was like, that was something. And and he's definitely he's anti all that stuff. And ever since then, he'll do the same thing when I do, when I tell a story, I get goosebumps.
Well, the thing is, you hear the people talk about having the eye glow and eye shine, but there's no great ape, including us, has the membrane that actually causes that.
Right.
So
that's what threw me off. Like I told him, I said, if that was a deer, its eyes would have glowed at us. Because that's what we'd do that every night when it get dark. We'd look for stuff looking at us.
No noise. It didn't make any noise.
Not after it knew we saw it.
I mean, the
Except
noise.
for the slow walking.
So no grunting noises
No
or
grunting,
any. No breathing.
No smell.
No smell. Okay.
And there have been skunks here the nights before, but that, like I said, that was another eerie thing. When we started putting stuff together, there was no animals in it. There was always skunks every night in this field that we're sitting in. There was always deer, and there was nothing. And that kind of give us, there's my goosebumps right there. Give us an eerie feeling like they either respect him or they're afraid of him. You know what I mean? I don't know. It was pretty, I'll never forget it. I mean, it was,
I mean, you talked about how you've got into like researching it or reading books and stuff like that. How, in other aspects, like different belief systems of yours or whatever you want to call it, how has it changed you after seeing what you've seen?
Oh, I was always curious, okay?
Yeah.
You know, because like I said, you can't prove the non-existence of something. I mean, it's impossible. And I'm a firm believer in creation and not evolution. And I almost believe that God has a sense of humor and just made something like that for people to chase, knowing that it'll never be seen or caught. You know what I mean? And that, you know, I believe that he's real. I 100% believe that he's real. I mean, that's what I was telling you. There's so many black bears in West Virginia, but I guarantee you 80% of the people in West Virginia have never seen one.
Right.
And there's thousands of them. And that doesn't mean they're not there. I mean, how do you not see a 300 or 400 pound bear tromping around all the time? You don't, because they know what they're doing.
Yeah. Okay, let me ask you this. What do you know, there's no wrong answer to it. What do you think it is? I mean,
What do you think? What do I think I saw?
You know, what do you think Bigfoot is, or Sasquatch, or?
I believe he's definitely a mammal, but he's definitely more educated. Like, he knew to hide behind a tree. No animal knows to hide behind a tree. I mean, animals know to go under rocks in their dens and stuff, but he was hiding like a person. So he's definitely got ape, you know, capacity to be smart, but it may be even more. Because a gorilla wouldn't even hide from you. I think he's smart enough to know not to attack, and, you know, not saying that he hasn't, but he didn't that night. He just wanted to be left alone.
See, I feel that they have some kind of ability to think and rationalize, and
Right, definitely.
because I don't think an animal that as many of these stories you hear and accounts, what people talk about, the aspects of those accounts, I don't think this is an animal that completely relies on instinct. So
Right. He was smart enough to know, if I take off up this hill, they're going to see me, and he didn't want to be seen.
right.
And he definitely had reaction time faster than any deer or person that if that would have been a person, there would have been a split 1-2 seconds where he's like, okay, I got to hide. No, he already knew where he was going to go, and before the light was even, before our eyes even focused, he was already on the way to not be seen.
And you've been coming here for quite a few years, and you've stayed in
That same spot since I was 5 years old.
Has anybody else ever told you they've experienced anything here, or like other family members, or just by talking to somebody?
I've never asked because people look at me like I'm stupid. You know what I mean? They just, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I have no shame in admitting it. I 100% believe that it was definitely a Sasquatch, or a type of Sasquatch.
Okay.
And at the time, like I said, we walked over there the next day and looked for anything, and it just looked like there had been deer bedding over there in that grass. But other than that, it was dry. There was no rain, no footprints, no smell.
And I asked you earlier, and for the interview purpose here, the river here is part of Sutton Lake.
Right. I think they call this like a Holly River section, actually.
Okay. But this, during the winter months, during the winter drain, this is pretty much empty.
No, this is bone dry up
Okay.
until about to where you get to the dam.
Okay.
And like I said, we've been up here. Me and my dad used to come up here every 2 months and just drive around the campground, walk around.
During that time of year, is the campground closed, or do people still camp?
It's in the winter. I think they close for the winter, but they don't close the gates. You can still drive through and do whatever you want.
Would you, like when they start doing when they do the drain later, because I'm going to come down to another area called Baker, the Baker campground.
Yeah, Baker's Run.
Baker's Run. But if I get a hold of you, would you be interested to come down here and we walk a little bit? And,
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I would love that.
Check out some stuff so we can find anything.
Yeah, I love it. That's like I said. I mean, I have no reason to lie. I have no shame. So I have nothing to gain from it. If anything, it slanders people in normal people's eyes.
Right.
I love nature, and I've never seen anything like that. And I've been in it a lot.
Yeah.
and it definitely it shook me. I mean, I've seen a bear and it not shake me like that thing shook me. There went again. Every time I bring it up, I get goosebumps because it was definitely something smart looking at me, and it freaked me out.
And I noticed your tattoo. You showed it to me before. Is that the whole reasoning behind the tattoo? And
That's part of it, and yeah, I mean, I believe I saw him, and there's the water and the light, and it just seemed like a memory to me.
very cool. Well, I will definitely keep in touch, and I'll give you my phone number. If you hear anything or see anything again, get a hold of me.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I know it's busy up here, but tonight my nephew actually is really interested in it, and he said he wants to stay up late and fish and see if we hear anything, or I think we're actually going to go over there again today and look, but he's definitely not leery of the scent of people.
Right.
This certain one, because I mean, if he's got a nose like I've read about, that's all he's going to smell around here is people.
How pronounced is the deer trail? Is it pretty
well
traveled?
I mean, it's been 15 years since I went over there, but it's pretty decent.
Yeah, because we were watching deer down here just a bit ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you, and I'll keep in touch.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And definitely get down here when the winter drain's going on, check some stuff out.
Oh yeah.
I really want to. How far down that way does it drain? Completely down? Way down?
Spots. I mean, me and my dad have been here when it's like there's no water, none. I mean, you can walk for hours in the riverbed.
Okay.
And like I told you, we used to come up here every drain and just go around and get fishing lures.
Okay. Sounds good. All righty. Well, I thank you. Hey, folks, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave me a comment and tell me what you think. Give me a thumbs up. And I'm going to do a little more exploring here in Braxton County today. And I want to thank everybody for stopping by. It's on to the next adventure.